was out on the field pretty much the whole entire first half.
We got a lot of great games. I'm highlighting 2 SEC games.
Yo! What's up, everybody? Season 3, or whatever it is. Who cares? We're calling it Season 3 of Touchdowns Live is here. Week 1 reaction, Week 2 preview, and I got your boy Mayhem Matthew here with me tonight. How you doing, Mayhem?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. You get to watch a lot of good football, and I guess let's go ahead and start with well, I don't know. Yeah, let's. I didn't put it on here on the list, but what did you see from Georgia this first game of the season?
Georgia Bulldogs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, to be honest with you, I really didn't get like a good measuring stick of like, okay, they're going to be, one of the best in the country. I mean, they're playing Marshall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like they did what they were supposed to do, and they went out there and they played ball. Gunner's starting to look good. Wide receivers look good. Didn't drop any passes. Just I feel like they did what they were supposed to. I don't really think they really opened up the offense too much. They didn't really do anything, defensively to really get after it. They just played pretty much regular ball, like very vanilla type plays, and they got out there with a win. I mean, they didn't do anything, that made me want to believe that they're going to win the national championship or anything like that. I mean, they are facing Marshall,
Hmm.
and we won't get to know anything next week either, as they are facing a low tier team as well. So we'll probably get to see them in action and really get a measuring stick of how great they are against Tennessee whenever they go on the road to Knoxville.
That's fair. A little different side of the story for my team in Alabama. Took a major loss to Florida State by 17 points, 34-17. And on one hand, yeah, you lost to a bad team from last year. On the other hand, you hope that for the better, you fix your mistakes that you made in that game. And you also hope for Florida State that maybe they're better this year and maybe the loss in the end doesn't look all that bad.
So let's talk about it right now. Let's talk about Alabama versus. Let's take a look at Alabama versus at Florida State. There, go ahead and I know you kind of told me a little bit, but tell me what popped out to you in this game.
Well, I feel like the defense for Alabama is what I mean, obviously giving up the 31 points is a defensive issue, clearly. Alabama has struggled on the road since Kalen DeBoer got there last year. I look at this game from this past Saturday, and I don't think the issue is that they only scored 17. I think it's more so the fact that they, in doing so, they gave up 31. They just got outcoached, manhandled, pushed around, however you want to put it. I don't know, man. I just there's a lot of issues. Ryan Williams didn't even look that good. Ty Simpson, people want him on the bench now. You let guys like Gavin Sawchuk here score a touchdown. Even Roydell Williams with Florida State Uh, even the former Alabama running back that transferred this offseason, or last year, whatever, even he pushed around our defense. So I don't know, man. Just I keep saying, not that this is the case, but you would hope it's the case. You hope that Florida State, if you're Alabama, you're hoping Florida State is actually better than we think, and that they are bouncing back, and that they won this first game because they were so pissed off because of 2 wins last year out of 12.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So
that's just what you hope for if you're Alabama, but also you had your own mistakes you got to clean up.
yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and say this: Alabama is not. This is not Nick Saban's Alabama. Okay. Also, Alabama did not look physical at all. Florida
Right.
State out physicaled them the whole entire game. And I feel like that is the story that really, t- I mean, I feel like that is what really told this game and what told this story here, that Florida State just out physicaled y'all. I feel like Ty Simpson, although he didn't play the best, but I feel like he didn't lose y'all the game. 23 for 43, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. Um, not the best stat line in the world, but one thing to note, he had 0 interceptions in this game. So
Yeah.
didn't turn the ball over. As far as Alabama rushing, this is what I'm talking about, the physicality, along the lines of scrimmage. You only had 87 yards of total rushing in this game. With Kevin Riley being y'all's leading rusher of 5 carries of 31 yards. And that don't even really tell the whole entire story because his longest was 13 yards. So really, if you take away that one run, he only had like, 15 or 16, whatever yards, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you just how physical Florida State was against Alabama, and that's what won Florida State the game. I feel like Alabama's best player on the whole entire team, offensive and defensively, is Jeremy Bernard. 8 receptions, 146 yards. I mean,
Yeah.
this dude tried to put Alabama's offense on his back, just couldn't get the job done. So, with that being said, I think Alabama will bounce back. I think they'll win a few games. They are going to be tested in other games. This is a bad loss to start the season for Alabama. You know, I don't want to overreact and say Alabama is now going to go 7-5 because I just don't
Right.
believe that. I do think they could repeat a 9-3 season. I think Alabama will get better as time goes. So we'll just see how the rest of the season plays out for Alabama. And as far as FSU goes, I think Florida State is not as good as what the score indicates. I think Florida State caught Alabama by surprise, and they were out. They out physicaled Alabama, but that I don't look at this game and say, man, Florida State is an ACC championship contender. I don't look at this game and say that. I look at this game and say Florida State had one really good game. Let's see if they can do it again. And if they do it again, then I'll be like, okay, maybe they are an ACC championship contender. Maybe they are a playoff contender. But right now, I'm still not sold on this Florida State, even though they did one great job against Alabama. This is, I don't want to overreact and be like, now Florida State is some contender for something, because I truly don't think they are. I think they're a 7 or 8 win team, even though they dominated Alabama.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts on this game? Because my final thoughts, I've really said it all week on my channel, or I say all week, all like this past weekend. But dude, I just think they got out coached. There's Alabama fans that want Kalen DeBoer fired, want them gone, want the coordinators gone, especially on defense. They even want Ryan Grubb gone. I'm not ready to say that yet. I'm not hopping on that train. A long season ago, it's not like you lost to a G5 team. Yeah, you lost to the worst in the Power 4 last year, but it's week 1. We've seen teams come out of nowhere and turn it around, turn on the Jets, and have a great season. And maybe that's possible with Florida State. I don't know. But you would hope that's the case if you're Alabama. But also, you want to put this game behind you, focus on ULM this week, and then eventually teams like Wisconsin, Georgia, and Tennessee down the road. You got to play one game at a time. 24-hour rule. You focus on the game for 24 hours, then win or lose, move on.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just say my final thoughts, and we'll move on to the next game. Florida State out physical Bama, but that doesn't mean, since they won this game 31-17. By the way, it was a one-score game, 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So, they scored a late touchdown to secure their win, making it 31-17. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that Florida State is some, national championship contender, playoff contender, or even a ACC championship contender based off of this win. I do think that Alabama needs to get their crap together. They need to get more physical along the lines of scrimmage, and they need to just play more of a physical game because they are very talented. I'm not going to sit here and say that Alabama is not talented. Alabama has 4 and 5 stars all over the field. That head coach that y'all have, I know, Kalen DeBoer is getting ragged on right now, but he took a team in Washington that only had 3 and 4 stars, or 2 and 3 and 4 stars, to a national championship. He has what it takes. He's been successful everywhere he's been. I am confident that, in a few years that he'll have Alabama where they need to be back in that national conversation of playoffs and SEC titles. I mean, they could take this loss and turn it around and still end up making the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that. My overreaction would say probably not, because y'all still have to play Georgia and in Athens this year, and y'all still have to play LSU, which look really good, which we'll talk about here in a minute, and y'all still have to play, a few other really talented teams. So it's going to be an uphill battle for y'all, after losing a game where a lot of Alabama fans thought it was a for sure win. So with that being said, congrats to Florida State. They earned it. They out-physicaled Bama, but I don't think this is just, I don't think this is the end for Alabama. I think Alabama's definitely still going to win 8 or 9 more, 8 or 9 games. And I think Florida State, they're not no national contender. I still think they are like a 7 or 8 win team at best. So that's my thoughts. Let's talk about Ohio State and Texas, man. I got some things to say about that. So let's go ahead and start with this. Arch Manning. He's in this game anyways. I feel like this game, a lot of people, all right, I'm going to be on the opposite side of what everybody else is saying, okay? Everybody's saying that Arch Manning is just trash. Arch Manning is no good, okay? That's pretty much what everybody's saying. He went 17 of 30, 170 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And probably should have had 2 interceptions in that game. So not very good stat-wise. I also feel like Texas didn't utilize Arch Manning in the best way possible. I feel like didn't really utilize his running ability the right way. And I feel like the play calling was very scared play calling. Okay. That's how I feel about that. they did. Now, as far as Ohio State's defense, you got to give credit to that defense. That is probably going to be like a top 3 defense in the country again this year. So you're expecting Arch Manning making his first collegiate start against the best defense in the country, arguably, to be some great juggernaut of a quarterback. I mean, I didn't expect that. I thought Arch Manning did okay. I don't think he played his best game yet. I think his better games are ahead. I think they need to start utilizing his legs a lot more than they did in this game. I feel like Texas did really good rushing the ball. With Wisner having 16 carries for 80 yards, and they ended up having a total team of 166 rushing yards. I thought they did really well with that, especially against Ohio State's defense. But yeah, I don't think Arch Manning is just some, terrible quarterback after week 1. I know that's what the overreaction is. If you, take a look at college football fans, and if you ask them, they'll say, Arch Manning just sucks. I'm not on that bandwagon yet. If he has another really bad game against a mediocre team, then I'm going to say, okay, yeah, Arch Manning's overrated. But I really don't think, I've never said Arch Manning was a Heisman contender. Whenever I was listing my Heisman contenders, I said Jeremiah Smith. I said Gus Nussmeier. I said who else did I say? Cade Klubnik, and I can't remember who else I said, but I don't believe Arch Manning was in that group. Maybe I said Carson Beck. I can't remember, but even if I did say my Arch Manning was in that group, I mean, it's because of his last name, right? I mean,
Right.
Arch Manning is going to end up being a good quarterback for Texas. I think Texas will likely be back into the playoffs. I really do believe that. I just think that you're going up against Ohio State. Let's talk about Texas' defense for a second, though. Texas' defense is also going to be a top 5 defense in the country. Held Ohio State to 14 points. Okay.
Yeah.
As far as Ohio State's quarterback Julian Sayin, he didn't do much better. 13 of 20, 126 yards and a touchdown. So, actually, I mean, I guess you could say he did, I don't know, slightly worse, maybe, possibly. Where was Jeremiah Smith in this game? I feel like Texas really held down Jeremiah Smith. Only held him to 43 yards. Ohio State's rushing, C.J. Donaldson with 67 yards. They only had a total of 77 rushing yards. So Texas's defense is going to be another top 5 defense in the country when it's all said and done. This was just a really good defensive battle. I don't think you can confidently say that Arch Manning is a bad quarterback, or you can't definitively say that Julian Sayin is a bad quarterback, because this was a very defensive game. I feel like both teams really didn't have explosive playmaking. I didn't see any bombs being thrown down the field and caught for touchdowns. This wasn't a really fast-paced game either. I felt like this was more of a slower type game. This was not one of them fast-paced games that you would see in the playoffs or anything like that, where it's really fast-paced, like no huddle style, going down the field trying to score touchdowns. Right? This was not that. This was really like a slower paced game. A lot of running the ball. A little bit of throws here and there, but no, they didn't really take chances of turning the ball over. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. So that's why the score indicated 14-7. Like I said, my final takeaways before I turn it over to you is both defenses top 5. I'm not arguing with that. I don't think Arch Manning is as bad as what everybody else is saying. And if you are going to say he's bad, you got to say Julian Sands bad. I just think that both of these defenses are just that good. I think Arch Manning's going to have better days, and he may end up in New York at the end of the year. Who knows? I still think that Texas is going to be in the playoffs at the end of the year, and Ohio State. Both defenses, even if you don't think Arch Manning is good, Texas's defense is good, is elite enough to get them to where they want to go. So I guess you could say that this could feel like a remember when Stetson Bennett was the starter quarterback the first year, and everybody didn't like Stetson Bennett, but that Georgia defense was just so good in 2021 that we ended up winning the national championship. I could see the same thing here for Texas. Yeah, they didn't win this game, but they only lost by a touchdown, 14-7. So, what's your thoughts?
Shout out to the chat real quick. Cody Hankins in here. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. My thoughts on this game. I was surprised by the final score. I wasn't surprised that Ohio State won. But I just, especially with Texas's defense looked great. Or did it? Mayhem, let me ask you one question before I continue on my soapbox. Did the offenses not wake up enough in this game? Or do you actually, and I think you probably just hit the nail on the head with it and what you said, but I mean, are you buying into both defenses after this game?
Yes, top 5 defenses, 100%.
Me too, actually. And I know it's a little weird to say with Texas. They got an offensive coach in Sark. But, hey, they got the talent. What we did see scoring wise, Carnell Tate, I mean, one big play, a 40-yard pass with Julian Sand in the fourth. Before that, it was 7-0 in the second quarter. CJ Donaldson from a yard out, 13-play drive, 80 yards. There wasn't a whole lot of big plays, but what I couldn't tell watching this game back, I didn't get to see it live. I had to go to work, of course, but I get home, I see the final score, and I'm like, I gotta watch highlights, like what happened, and what I could tell, what they showed was there was great pass rush from both sides, but is it me or did they not want to be that explosive in this game? Like, were they trying to play conservative and safe with their offense as if they were afraid that they were going to give the ball up or something, or that it would be too much? Like, I don't know how to put it, but do you think
Well,
that
that's
they just were holding back offensively?
that's exactly how I'll put it.
Yeah.
They were playing safe football. They weren't going fast paced. They weren't making any big plays, big explosive plays. You didn't see any of that, but I think in the next coming weeks you'll start seeing that from both of these teams. This reminded me of, remember whenever Ohio State lost to Michigan last year, and then people were starting to say that, oh, Ohio State's offense sucks. Ohio State's offense sucks. But then the criticism was so loud that Ryan Day, when he got in the playoffs, he turned it up a notch, a big notch. And then the script flipped really fast. And what were people saying then? Oh, well, this is one of the best offenses in the country. This is one of the best defenses in the country. No wonder they won the national championship. They beat They beat Tennessee 48-14 or whatever it was. They beat Oregon like 38-10 or whatever. I'm just saying, like, they blew them out, right? And they were blowing out these teams in the playoffs, and then they took care of business in the national championship. That game wasn't even that close. Remember, we watched it on the live stream this past year. That game wasn't close. The score indicated that it was closer than it really was. So, I just think that Texas is going to be fine offensively. Defensively, they're definitely going to be fine. Top five. I think both of these teams will be in the playoffs at the end of the season. I'm not too worried about these. I think one of these teams had to lose, obviously, and it just happened to be Texas this day. I think if you play the same game 10 times, maybe Texas wins 4, and I think Ohio State wins. Well, I think actually 5-5. I think Texas probably wins this game.
It's like a 50-50 matchup. Like, you don't know which team's gonna win, like at what point. But like you say, if you play it 10 times, I mean, 5-5 seems legit.
This could be a rematch in the national championship. You never know that.
Yeah, or semifinals, or just in the playoffs. It wouldn't surprise me. So, what do you say we turn the page here and look at another game? Let's get into. Let's see. How about LSU taking on Clemson? What do you think about that one?
Yeah, go ahead. I went first on a couple of them, so go ahead.
Yeah, so first off, my apologies for the other night. I did not stay up. I was so tired from work, but we'll make it up to you. We're going to try to stay up. I always try to stay up for my team this week with the ULM game for sure. LSU took on Clemson in week 1, and LSU finally got that signature opening victory under Brian Kelly. Clemson at home falls short within the final couple minutes of the game. LSU won 17-10 in Death Valley Northeast, however you want to put it. I only say it like that because of relative location to LSU. This is a home and home. They will meet again at LSU next season. This was the first time these teams have met since the national championship game in 2020 for the 2019 season. And LSU yet again beat the Clemson Tigers. It was not Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. It was Garrett Nussmeier finding Trey'Dez Green and company in this game. They were a 5.5 point underdog. They won by 7. If you had took them in the points, you definitely won that one. Kind of a low scoring affair, defensive game, a little back and forth. Not a game that had a low score, but a scoreless quarter. There was not at all a scoreless quarter. It seemed like it was all Clemson at first, but then it got shut out that second half. And basically, LSU just rallied back, and Garrett Nussmeier put on a really good performance in the third and fourth quarters. A touchdown in each of those to rally and win 17-10, being down 10-3 at the half. Mayhem. Number 9 takes down number 4. What do you think?
Well, let me go ahead and say this. That both, and I almost sound like I'm repeating myself, but it's just true. Both of these defenses also are going to lie somewhere in the top 5, top 10 at the end of the season too. LSU's defense was looking amazing in this game.
Yeah. Especially the pass rush, I thought. Like, they just played so fast, like, I couldn't keep up.
Yeah, so LSU's defense looked amazing. Clemson's defense looked amazing. Okay. And whenever you get two amazing defenses, I don't know if you know how football works, Ballard, but you end up with low scoring games. So you got 17-10 here. I also think these are really two great offenses that they just unfortunately had to go up against two great defenses. And so that's why we got the low scoring affair there. Yeah, at first it looked like Clemson was going to take this, but then LSU rallied back in the second half, and they made the halftime adjustments, and Clemson didn't have an answer for it, so they were able to win this game 17-10. So that's my thoughts on this game. You know, I'm a really big fan of Garrett Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik. I think they're both amazingly talented quarterbacks. Even after week one, they're going to go on and have Heisman-like seasons. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself from the last game we talked about, but you will see both of these teams right back into the playoffs. That's a guarantee. That's what you call a mayhem's guarantee. And guess what? No money back guarantee as well. So yeah, you can guarantee.
Interesting. It was very interesting how similar these teams were too. 6 penalties for each team. However, when you look at yardage, they were pretty close on passing. I thought both quarterbacks passing the ball, finding big plays, and just overall, I mean, like you had Nussmeier 29 of 39, 19 of 38. Not the best day for Cade Klubnik, but still 230 passing yards, even on 230, by the way. He did throw an interception, talking about Cade Klubnik there. No interceptions for Garrett Nussmeier in this game. But when you look at running the ball, LSU dominated that, and it wasn't even close. They had 108 rushing yards off 31 attempts. They averaged about 3.5 yards per rush. Clemson averaged 1.6 yards per rush, 20 rushing attempts, only 31 yards. They even go half the field off 20 carries. That's a little embarrassing, but I think that's more so showing you how good this Tigers run defense was for LSU.
Yeah, and defensively, LSU. I mean, you got to talk about West Weeks. I mean, he was a star in this game. Harold Perkins was a star in this game, racking up a sack and a tackle, almost 2 tackles for losses and 3 solo tackles. You gotta talk. Well, actually, you gotta talk about Whit Weeks too. The Week brothers. You gotta talk about PJ Woodland. You gotta talk about Tamarcus Cooley. Like a lot of these guys just stepped up for LSU's defense. That defense is scary, man. Also, as far as Clemson's defense, gotta talk about Sammy Brown. You gotta talk about Wade Woodaz. You gotta talk about Peter Woods. Right? You gotta talk about all these guys on the Clemson defense that really made impacts in this game. And I mean, whenever you put two great defenses together, you get low scoring affairs, and that's pretty much the story of this game. I mean, this is basically telling you in the future that these defenses, whenever you look at the end of the year, I can guarantee you both of these teams are going to be in the playoffs, and both of these teams are going to have dangerous defenses.
Absolutely. Thought it was a great game. 17 to 10 LSU over Clemson, 9 taken down. Number 4, Mayhem. There was one game we wanted to briefly touch on. I say we go ahead and knock it out. What did you take away from Boise State and USF?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised about that game, Boise State and USF. It's because Boise State brung back pretty much everybody from their team from last year except for Ashton Genty, right? And
Right.
they bring back their quarterback Madsen. They bring back, I mean, pretty much their whole receiving core. They bring back like a good portion of their team and defense as well. And briefly, my biggest question is, was Ashton Dempsey really just that good to bring them? Did he really put them on his back? And I mean, because Madsen had a really good year last year as well too. Let's not forget. But was Ashton Genty really just that good to help them go all the way to the playoffs, or is South Florida just that good this year? I mean, or is it somewhere in the middle? Or are both of them? You know, because Boise State's schedule isn't really that hard moving forward, so they'll probably win a lot of games. But South Florida, are they a playoff contender now? I mean, is that the week one overreaction? Is it overreacting to say South Florida just might be a playoff contender?
It might be overacting a little bit, but I feel like they've been building towards a possible good season like what they could have this year. I mean, think about it, man. I know Alabama's had their issues, but they had a home and home. And even though last year, which I went to the game with my parents, and I remember watching that game and being at halftime and just thinking, man, something ain't right. South Florida, 2 years in a row, took Alabama to the woodshed, out back and outright for half the game, just owned them. Just owned them, man. Like, but I feel like that's who South Florida is. Like, they're just that team. They're that group of 5 team, and to beat a ranked team like that, 34-7, a team that really only lost their star running back in Ashton Genty to the Raiders, that says a lot, man. 34-7 is gonna speak volume. I don't know about their schedule. In fact, I'm actually kinda curious. I might look at it real quick. But I feel like this could be a good year for the Bulls. They go to Florida this week. We'll see how good they compete. Could they pull an upset there? They also go to Miami. Then they start playing in conference with South Carolina State, Charlotte, UNT, which is North Texas, UAB late in the year. So it's yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. I think after these next couple weeks, after you get past the Power 4 with Florida and Miami, watch out for what the Bulls could do.
Yeah, for sure. And I know we'll get to some predictions later on in the show, but I mean, would it be crazy to call a South Florida upset against Florida Gators?
This early, maybe, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're 2 ranked teams, really good teams, going head to head. You know what, Mayhem? It would not be crazy to predict that early right now. I don't think it'd be crazy.
For sure. I mean, that's all I pretty much had in this game. I just wanted to bring it up because it is crazy to see, a Boise State team that really only lost one player, but it was a player that probably deserved to win the Heisman, although, Travis Hunter was the Heisman winner, which he also deserved it as well. If there was 2 Heisman winners last year, it would have been both of them. It's just crazy to see how one player can make such an impact. Imagine Ashton Genty was in this game. Would it be 34-7? I don't think so. I think it'd been much closer. But yeah, it's crazy to me because their leading rusher was Sire Gaines, only had 44 rushing yards. That ain't even half of what Ashton Jency could do on the football field. So yeah, man, we'll see how Boise State bounces back. We'll see if South Florida ends up becoming some, great Group of 5 team that makes it to playoffs. We'll just follow that closely as the year goes along. I just wanted to mention it just in case you know, something does accumulate out of this game.
For sure. Let's go ahead and knock this one out because we are kind of late on it. That Iowa State Kansas State game from week 0. What did you think of the Ireland potato showdown?
Yeah, I think both defenses, um, just I think the whenever I originally was watching it, I was thinking like, man, this is like two really good teams that could potentially go somewhere, right? And I still believe Iowa State can go somewhere, but after I just seen the score from Kansas State and whoever team they played, they almost lost that game as well, 38-35. But my original thoughts on this game was, man, they have a pretty good defense, pretty good offense. 24-21. This is, a really good matchup between the two, two very similar type teams. That's what I was uh, thinking while I was watching it. But then I see Kansas State completely struggle with
Yeah.
their opponent, with their low level opponent, 38-35. And then I see Iowa State just completely obliterate their low level opponent, 55-7. So I feel like Kansas State may be losing a little bit of traction while Iowa State is gaining that traction from that week 1 win. So yeah, man, Kansas State's got to show me a lot more than what they have before I'm a believer in them making anything. But Iowa State, I'm a firm believer that they're going to be just fine. They are definitely playoff contenders once again. They are definitely Big 12 contenders once again, and they're going to be just fine.
I think so too. I think I think the Big 12 is up for grabs for a lot of different teams. Not all of them out there, but I feel like these are the two favorites going into it. And I think Iowa State took a big step forward. I wouldn't be surprised if they rematched in the championship. And overall, I think that you saw really good defenses, which is not something you say about the Big 12 a lot. Um, it's usually just an offensive scoring league, and nothing wrong with that. But I think it's been cool to see defenses improve the last couple years.
Yeah, for sure. Kansas State's defense definitely took a step backwards this past weekend, allowing a nobody team to score 35 points on them. So definitely took a
Yeah.
major step back from what they did against Iowa State. But we can move on to the next game.
All right. How about the Georgia Tech and Deion Sanders?
So I'll let you take the reins on this one while I get my thoughts together.
I need to pull it up real quick. That night I was mostly focused on Auburn and Baylor, which we don't have listed, but let's kind of look at it. I mean, 27-20, close and competitive game, back and forth a little bit, but low score. It's like one of those low scoring shootouts. 13-3, outscoring Colorado, taking a 13-10 lead at halftime. And then 7-3 in the third, 7-7 in the fourth. There was Haynes Crane. I almost said Hanks Crane. I don't even know what that means, but Haynes King, a 45-yard go-ahead touchdown with 107 left. Early mistakes, they get it fixed in the second half, and late in the fourth quarter, they win the game 27-20. Sorry, on a Friday night in Boulder, Colorado. This was interesting. I I'll say this. Caden Salter, of course, comes in to start at quarterback. Colorado had a couple different options for who was going to replace Shador. You had Julian Lewis, the freshman. A lot of people thought he should get the go ahead, but they go with the senior and Caden Salter. I think this is going to be a good team this year, at least an okay team. I think they are talented. I think Dion's a pretty good head coach, knows football, and I think that you can't take that away from him. It's not going to be what it was with Travis Hunter, Shiloh Sanders, Shador Sanders, and all those guys that are now gone. But I thought they had an interesting game the other night. Thought they were in a good position. I think they're still in a good position for at least 6 or 7 wins. Kudos and hats off to Georgia Tech, though, for going on the road, winning by 7. And it came down to a Hail Mary. And Georgia Tech just had that really good man coverage in the end zone to basically knock it down.
Yeah, so here's my thoughts on it. Number one, Caden Salter will not be the starting quarterback next week as they face what was it, Delaware State or something like that.
Yeah.
Delaware. So it'll be Julian Lewis that gets to start next week. So they're still in the active quarterback battle. I thought both of these teams were pretty evenly matched, as the score indicates. Georgia Tech was, a little bit better, and I think both of these teams will probably be. I think Georgia Tech will be a 6 or 7 win team, and I think Colorado will be a 5 or 6 win team. That's kind of how I see it. Nothing really stood out to me in this game. Colorado rushed the ball a little bit better than what we've saw in years past. Georgia Tech, they you know they did what I really expected them to do. Haynes King did a little bit worse than I thought. He was 13 to 20, 143 yards and 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. Kind of surprised me a little bit, but other than that, like their running game, I mean, Haynes King had 19 carries of 156 yards, crazy. Jamal Haynes has 65 yards. So they really ran the ball a lot. Colorado's defense didn't have any answers for it. Haynes King is just, he's the man. I really like him. He's going to win a lot of games for Georgia Tech. And once Haynes King is gone from Georgia Tech, they're going to feel the effects of losing Haynes King because they're going to take a major step backwards. But I still think Georgia Tech is a 6-7 win team. Maybe if they could upset somebody, maybe an 8-win team. But Colorado is mainly they're going to be trying to itch at that bowl eligibility at the end of the year. That's kind of my takeaways from this game.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's move next to. Let's go back to week 1 here on this. Let's talk this Syracuse and Tennessee game. This surprised me. Tennessee without Nico Iamaleava, he's now at UCLA. Joey Aguilar comes in. Syracuse had some good offense out there. Not the best defense on the field, though, the other night, or really afternoon game, half-flat kickoff in Atlanta. I'll say this, man. Ooh, I might regret picking Syracuse to have a big season, hit 10 wins, and be an ACC title contender, or am I crazy to back out of that? Because I'm not a big believer in Tennessee on one hand, so to give up 45 points to them and only score 26, but I don't know how to feel about this, man. Like, did I underestimate the Vols or did I hype up the Orange too much? Or both? You're muted, Mayhem, if you're trying to talk.
Oh, my bad. I said I
You're
think
good.
I think that you're hyping up the Orange a little bit too much. Hey, I did too. I did too. I take full responsibility of doing the same thing. I totally hyped them up way too much. You know, I thought the ending of their season this past year was really, really good, and I thought that they were going to take that. At the end, since they did really good at the last year, I thought they were going to take that and bring it into the season, and they were going to upset Tennessee. I called an upset, and well, I just I didn't get it right. So I think Tennessee's defense is still pretty good, and Joey Aguilar is going to get exposed once he plays a really good team. I don't think he's as good as what the Tennessee man is throwing it out there to be. I'm just going to be honest with you. Um, you know, he was 16 to 28, 247 yards and 3 touchdowns against a Syracuse defense. And I mean, Joey Aguilar is just going to get exposed whenever he has to face Georgia or whenever he has to face any of these elite defenses in the country. He's not going to be good at all. He's going to be mediocre at best. And Tennessee, yeah, they won. Congratulations, but they're still a 6-win team, 6 or 7-win team in my book. I mean, I predicted that they wouldn't even make a bowl game, but now that they won versus Syracuse, I had them at like 5-7. So, and I had them losing to Syracuse. So, with that being said, I have to say they're about a 6-win team now. According to my predictions. So they're probably like they're barely going to make a bowl game, and they're not going to have a good year. I don't know what else to tell the Tennessee man. Congratulations on your win against the Syracuse, but I think Tennessee, the only thing they have left is a pretty good defense. I mean, their offense. I don't really see anybody that really stands out on their offense, to be honest with you. I mean, Joey Aguilar had a good game against a terrible Syracuse defense.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as high on Syracuse as I was. I thought they had an interesting year last year, and they could still have a good year this year and compete for the ACC. I'm not buying it as much anymore because I think it was one of those games for me that, like, you could tell, even though there was good effort, you could tell they were flawed too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll do it for Syracuse, Tennessee. I think we need to save the UNC game last. Let's go ahead and I'll let you pick Notre Dame, Miami, or Utah, UCLA.
Let's go ahead and do Utah, UCLA.
All right. Let me get it pulled up here.
And before I dive into this, because Utah is my second favorite team.
Right.
Well, third favorite, sorry. Kentucky's my second favorite team. But Utah, there's 2 questions I have to ask you. And they're kind of overreacting questions. Because, that's pretty much what we do on week 1. We overreact, right? I mean, you don't know what they're going to do the rest of the season, so we're kind of overreacting here, right?
Right.
So the first question is Utah a Big 12 contender based off of this game?
They could be, but I think it's still too early to tell because it is UCLA and Nico, and we don't know how bad or how good UCLA is going to be. So I think the best bet is no, but it's not a guaranteed no.
And my second question is UCLA so far gone from college football that this is the norm for UCLA? I remember when UCLA used to be really, really good.
Hmm.
I mean, the biggest question is what happened to UCLA? I mean, they got Nico. They thought they, scored a great quarterback, and he ended up not performing well at all. UCLA's offensive line is hot doo doo. Um, they didn't have much of a rushing attack. Their offense is just trash, and their defense is even trasher. I mean, what is it? I mean, can UCLA be fixed with their current coach? Is their current coach and definitely in the hot seat? I know they just recently hired a new coach. I mean, is he already in the hot seat after this week? I mean, what's wrong with UCLA and can they get back? I mean, just what's going on? Because Utah looked like the Utah from a couple years ago that was winning the Pac-12 championship back to back, and they looked really solid in this game. They looked like they could do anything they wanted to with UCLA, and just what happened to UCLA?
Downfall. That's all I can say. I don't know how else to really put it.
I mean, Chip Kelly left UCLA to take an offensive coordinator job at Ohio State, and then UCLA became. I mean, they were not that good with Chip Kelly. But they were way better than this.
Right.
I mean, and Nico, man, I bet you he regrets asking for more money. I bet you he regrets that big time. I mean,
It
I
probably
think
does. Yeah.
Nico's not like a great quarterback. I think he's a pretty good quarterback, but he don't have talent around him to really be in competitive games.
Well, and it's funny is he came out and said about like the transfer to UCLA that it wasn't about money, it was to be close to family, blah blah blah, BS, whatever. I just I don't think he's that. I mean, I don't want to say he's not talented, but I don't think he's that good as he should have been. Number one at Tennessee, but just in general as a quarterback, I mean, you just didn't see it on display in this game. Now, again, can he be the guy that turns it around and bounces back? Sure, but what are the chances of that?
Yeah, not so good. I think UCLA's season is not mathematically over, but in my head, and probably a lot of other people said, it is completely over. They may not win 5 games. I mean, I don't really see. If I look at their schedule, I see. Okay, they may lose to UNLV. They'll probably beat UNM. That's one win. They'll probably lose to Northern Northwestern. They'll lose to Penn State. They'll lose to Michigan State. They'll lose to Maryland. They'll lose to Indiana. They'll lose to Nebraska. They'll lose to Ohio State. They'll lose to Washington. They'll lose to Southern Cal. So I could see that. Honestly, I could see 2-10 for UCLA. That's crazy to think about. I could see it.
Last year's Florida State minus the whole 13-0 deal.
Yeah, I could. I mean, I could see. I could see it. 2-10, 1-11. I could see them being the worst Power Four team in the country this coming year. They're just
Damn,
that
that'd be
bad.
wild. Damn.
And UCLA used to be a powerhouse. What
Yeah.
happened?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
All right, what's
Anyway,
next?
yeah, let's I'll let well, I'm gonna pick this one. Let's do the Belichick one last. That means we got Notre Dame Miami left before we do TCU Belichick. I'll let up.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say this: two really great, talented teams, two really great defenses. Once again, Carson Beck, man, played out of his mind. He looked
Heck yeah.
he looked so comfortable. He looked really happy to be there. He looked like he was playing with a chip on his shoulder. I mean, he was playing some football. I really loved it. 20 for 31, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Um, you know, he even I just as far as Miami's rushing, Fletcher Jr. 66 yards of 15 carries, and they ended up with a total team of 127 rushing yards, which ain't too shabby. Miami's defense is really, really good. I wouldn't say elite, but they are definitely good. Um, and then Notre Dame's offense. I feel like Notre Dame's offense has, and you're gonna call me crazy, but I think CJ Carr. I'm pretty sure this was his first collegiate start as well, right?
That I know of, yeah.
He already looks better to me than what they had last year. That's just call me crazy if you want, but he looks better than what they had this past year. 19 of 30, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception there. Jeremiah Love, Miami was able to slow down Jeremiah Love, 10 carries of 33 yards. That's not really his normal performance. But if you get him on a good performance, Notre Dame could be dangerous. I'm telling you. I mean, CJ Carr even got 16 yards on the ground as well, which is about half of what Jeremiah Love had. Notre Dame, they have Faison back. He comes
Mhm.
back. He didn't do as well as I thought he would do. I really love Jordan Faison. I remember watching him all last year. I really love him, and as long as they have him on the field, they have a chance to win, especially with Jeremiah Love. And I think CJ Carr's an upgrade at quarterback. So, and then Notre Dame defense is always a really great defense. I think Miami's offense is just slightly better than their defense, obviously, which Miami ended up winning 27-24. Miami had like a 10-point lead or something like that.
At one
Notre
point,
Dame, huh?
at one point, yeah, I thought so.
And then Notre Dame ends up coming back to tie the football game up. Looks like Notre Dame might, come out with a win. And then Miami drives down the field, kicks a game-winning field goal to end the game. So, two evenly matched teams played a great game, two great games. The biggest question I have, Ballard, for you is now that Notre Dame is 0-1, do they have to run the table in order to make the playoffs, or can a 10-2 Notre Dame get in? Or
I'd
and
have
if
to
it
look at I think the schedule matters. I mean, I don't think this is a bad loss, 3 points to a ranked Miami team. But my guess is they're gonna have to run the table. I don't know for sure. I I have to look at the rest of their schedule. They always play teams like Navy or Army somewhere in there. So they should have room. And plus you always get like USC, but yeah, I think I'm gonna say they have to run the table. They got a tough schedule. They got A&M next Saturday night. Purdue the following week, and then Arkansas on the road. So you got to be careful with some of those games. Syracuse and Stanford late. I'm gonna say yes, they have to run the table, but I mean, if they don't, they don't, and it's in the committee's hands. I think it's kind of 50-50 here.
For sure. Yeah. I think they should be able. I think they should have to run the table.
Mhm.
I don't really agree with number one. I think everybody should be in a conference. Number two, if they don't want to be in conference, then they should take a penalty. They should have to, with the 12-team playoff. I think they should be 11-1 or better to get into the playoffs. I think that should be the automatic qualifier for like a Notre Dame independent team. They should have to do 11-1 or 12-0 because if they did go 11-1, they would automatically be in the playoffs. So it helps them out. But if they go like 10-2, it should hurt them a lot and keep them out of the playoffs. That's just how I feel. I don't care what the schedule is. They can play. They can play an entire SEC schedule. If they go 10-2, they should not get into the playoffs. I don't care. I don't care what you say. They can play a Big Ten schedule. I don't care. They're not in a conference. They should be punished at some point. I mean, you know what I mean? They could play they could play Georgia, Alabama, they could play Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson, LSU. But if they went 9-3 with that schedule, but they didn't play in a conference, are you really wanting to put them in the playoffs at 9-3, even though they had this hardest schedule in the country? No,
Right.
you wouldn't. So I think 10-2, they should not be in the playoffs. I think they should have to run their whole entire schedule, the rest of their games undefeated. But I don't think it's going to happen, man. They got a really tough schedule, and my Notre Dame always loses to a team that you scratch your head like a Northern Illinois. You're like, what just happened? And so I think Notre Dame probably 9-3, 10-2 this year. They got a difficult schedule. They got one of them, really bad losses coming up soon, I'm sure. So as far as Miami goes, this is pretty much how they started this past year. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. So we'll see if Miami can keep this going, and let's see if they can get into the playoffs. I think Carson Beck is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, even though he's in Miami, not Georgia. I still believe he's one of the best quarterbacks. He's along the lines of Garrett Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik, in my opinion. Carson Beck could be, in the Heisman talks in the next couple of weeks. He's just that good. I think he fits very well in that system. And I think he plays comfortable. I think he plays happy. I just think he loves to be there. So congratulations, Carson Beck, on the win, and let's see what they do on the next one.
Absolutely. Miami, Notre Dame, great game. Two great teams, I think, and we'll see how they do the rest of the season. All right. Before we do pick'ems to end the show, save the best for last. Unless I'm forgetting any games, Mayhem, I think it's time to talk about Bill Belichick's debut. I'm going to let you lead it off, or do you want to wait and let me lead?
Well, I think we're pretty much going to say the same thing. I mean, you can go ahead and take the reins on this one. I'm pretty sure we're going to say very similar things, though.
All right. So, Labor Day weekend. Hope everyone had a great holiday. Labor Day night, we saw something in college football that I think people expected, but I also feel like it was maybe worse than we thought it was going to be. 48-14, UNC goes down. And I would say, I don't know. I like Bill Belichick. I think he's a great head coach. I thought he was great in the NFL, the Patriots, great defensive mind, elite in terms of coaching. However, was I right, Mayhem, when I said how is he going to handle the current atmosphere and situations like NIL, portal, stuff like that, and then translate it on the field in college football? Should he get out before it gets too late?
Well, I've always said you make your bed, you lie in it.
Yeah.
So he needs to play out the rest of the schedule. He needs to play out the rest of this year because it's not fair to the players that have committed to him, that have you know that are playing for him and that are sitting on the bench waiting for their turn to play for Coach Belichick because them are the ones that committed to him and that want to play for him. So I think he needs to do the right thing and at least play the rest of this schedule out. Now, if you ask me, does he need to get rid of 24-year-old little girlfriend over there? Yeah, I probably should probably should get rid of her before it gets uglier. Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah. There's single guys in Florida like me that could use her. Send her my way.
Yeah, so good grief. I'm just telling you, this game wasn't even close. This game felt to me, this is basically my thoughts on this game because honestly, I didn't watch all of it after. I mean, I didn't even realize they scored 14 points. The Tar Heels had a really great first drive, ended with a touchdown, and after that, they didn't do anything else until in the fourth quarter. They got another a garbage time touchdown. But for the rest of the game, TCU just manhandled North Carolina. This honestly felt like Georgia versus Marshall. That's how it felt. It felt like I was watching Georgia go against Marshall. Like that bad. Like they treated North Carolina as if they were just some random group of five team. Now, there are some people that are saying TCU is now a contender for like Big 12 and they're now contenders for like playoff berth. Not so fast, my friend. They did it a couple years ago, sure. They didn't do too well last year. They manhandled North Carolina with Bill Belichick, and we all knew anybody that had any type of knowledge of college football knew that Bill Belichick wasn't going to be good at this level. Yeah, he's one of the greatest of all times in the NFL, but it doesn't translate. Okay, so 48-14 was the final. TCU looked like national champions, and North Carolina just looked like a group of five team. That's the story of this game. Bill Belichick, he he's letting that woman run that program down to the ground, and he's so in over his head, and
Yep.
I don't know what he's doing. I mean,
I don't think he knows what he's doing. Honestly.
this is like Joe Biden trying to run the country, and this is how bad it is.
Oh, you just compared the greatest Patriots coach to the worst president we have ever had. That's facts, though.
I mean,
I mean,
man, North Carolina is going to have a bad year. And they might get blown out. They might get blown out like this in every single game. I wouldn't be surprised if they turned out to be the worst team in the ACC.
yeah. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised at it either. I thought it was a bad idea. Like I said the other day, in my video, and I've said it on Twitter. So, like, there is a reason Nick Saban got out of college football because of the portal and NIL running wild. It's only a matter of time, Mayhem. And someone backed me up on this and said, well, he handled the NFL well. And it kind of changed my perspective. But what do you think? Like, do you think that it's only a matter of time before something runs him out of town? Or do you think that because of how he handled the NFL and his experience there, he can handle the changing landscape of college football and it's only his win-loss record keeping him, whether he keeps the job or not?
Well, is this crazy? Well, number one, college football and NFL does not interchange. Like, if you're good at NFL, that doesn't mean you're good at college. If you're good at college, that doesn't mean you're good at NFL. Ask Nick Saban. But I'm gonna say this, and it might be crazy, but if Bill Belichick never had Tom Brady, would we be sitting here calling him the greatest of all time in the NFL head coach? Because after Tom Brady went to the Bucks, and after Tom Brady retired, what was the Patriots doing? Like missing playoffs? What were they doing? Nothing.
Nothing.
So he was already going, and then they fired him. I know they didn't say it's a firing, but they had a mutual parting of the ways, which in my terms, he got fired, right?
Yeah.
Um, dude, I mean, and honestly, I think he took this job not to coach North Carolina because he wanted to. I think this was mainly just so that if he won a few games and he was pretty good at college, that some of the NFL teams would be calling him back, because he wanted to still coach. But the man's old; he needs to retire. He should have retired a long time ago. No, I don't think North Carolina can afford his buyout right now, and only he could retire, and that might end up. I think he'll probably do one more year. I think this year and one more year, and if he has a pretty good year, a second year, then some NFL team will probably call him up for one more year, and then he'll retire. That's kind of how I see it playing out. But this year's he's going to struggle. Definitely, it's going to be hard to watch if you're a North Carolina fan.
For sure. And again, I don't want to put a ceiling on this team because I don't know. I really don't know. But don't be surprised if it's only 3 or 4 games that go in their favor this year. Also, don't be surprised if maybe they improve and find their rhythm and maybe squeak out 7 wins or something. I don't know, man. Still there?
Yeah. I've got a couple comments.
What's up, MSU fan?
Thoughts on Sparty and BC? Got any?
Are they playing or something? Is that part of the schedule? I mean, Michigan State, I guess, is off to a good start, and I don't, I don't know specifically what he's asking. I know he's a Michigan State fan, but
What about this? What about this comment?
all right. Next comment. Might be the worst in the SEC. Facts. Penn State doesn't belong in the 12-team playoff. Have to see it against real competition, though. That's fair. Oh, you play Boston College on Saturday night? Could be a fun matchup. Still got to see it, but
You gonna do the pick'ems and get on out of here?
Let's do it. I'll pull it up. We'll alternate, and I'll let you lock some in too. Well, no, I've already picked them, but I want to get your thoughts on them. So the first one they have, Mayhem, is Iowa State, the Battle of the Cyhawk Trophy. What's your thoughts?
Iowa State.
I'm taking Iowa. I need them to hit the over on the win total, go 8-4 or better, and I think it starts right here. I'm very high on their offense being a little improved. I also think they have one of the better defenses year in and year out in the Big Ten. I'm going with the upset, although rest in peace to our good friend Jeff Webster. We love you. His legacy lives on this community. He was an Iowa State guy. You know what? Screw it. Let's go Cyclones here. I'm going with it. Changing my
Yeah.
pick.
I think they're a playoff team in that.
Yeah. Syracuse loses to Tennessee week 1. Do they bounce back against UConn? I say yes.
Yes, this ain't basketball season yet.
Basketball season? This could be an interesting one. 1-0 teams here. Illinois and Duke. What do you say?
Illinois is a fringe college football playoff contender. Give me the Fighting Illini.
Yes.
Speaking
Man.
speaking of Illini, I'll be going to Chicago, Illinois, this coming weekend. So there you go.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
What's next?
Baylor, who lost to Auburn, and SMU. And by the way, the home teams are on the right, so this is Baylor at SMU.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the home field advantage here. I don't believe in Baylor. I used to love Dave Randa, but give me the Stangs to win this game.
God, is Baylor going to be that team this year that, like, I'm going with you. I'm going SMU here. I like Rhett Lashley more than I like Dave Aranda right now. NC State, Virginia.
Yeah, I
I'll go
agree.
for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with your pick there.
Yeah. Again, I might change some of these, but we'll see. This one I talked about a little bit with Lou tonight on his Collins show. Thinks it could be a really good game. Kansas 2-0, Missouri 1-0, hosting in Columbia, Kansas. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, Jalen Daniels, quarterback of Kansas, a really good hot start. He's always had really good hot starts, by the way. I believe a few years ago he started 6-0 before they started losing games, but then he got injured. That's why they started losing games. And then the year prior, he won a couple games and got injured again, and then they started losing a whole lot of games. This year he starts off really hot. But I think Missouri's defense is just going to be a little bit too much. Although I think Kansas and Missouri probably have similar offenses. Like, I do think that when I say similar offenses, I mean like the talent wise, right?
Yeah.
I think Jalen Daniels is a better quarterback than what Missouri has, but Missouri played a nobody, and now Missouri fans are so excited that he threw for 300 or 400 yards or something like that. So I'm not really jumping on the hype quite yet. I think Kansas's defense is going to struggle against their offense because come on, it is an SEC offense. They do have 4 and 5 stars all over the field. So, but I think Kansas's defense is going to struggle a little bit, that Big 12 defense there. But I think the offense can definitely score some points on Missouri. It's not going to be like a really, really close game. I think Missouri wins probably by 14 points. That sounds about right.
I like Jalen Daniels at quarterback more than I like Bo Pribula. I was not impressed with Bo Pribula when he was at Penn State last year before, and he had to come in a couple games because Drew Aller got hurt. This is like a border war. This is a big rivalry too. If you didn't know, they've met a lot. This is a 3:30 game this weekend. Let's. I guess I'll stick with Missouri for now. I love Kansas this year though, but I'm gonna take the home team. When in doubt, take the home team, especially in the SEC environments.
Yep, I agree.
Golden and blue dude, live on, brother. West Virginia over Ohio. I don't think we need to talk about that. Let's. I don't know. Do you want to go ahead and get your thoughts on Michigan, Oklahoma?
Yeah, Oklahoma's going to win.
You sure?
I know.
I'm going with the upset here.
Who's favored to
I'm going
win?
with Michigan. I think Oklahoma. Let me check. Yeah, Oklahoma by 4.5. I'm taking Michigan with the upset.
Yeah, I'm taking Oklahoma. They got a better defense. Their offense, I'm definitely taking chances on their offense. I think Oklahoma is the dark horse in the SEC. I really do. Give me Oklahoma to win this game.
Okay. Arizona State, Mississippi State. I talked about this game this week with Andrew on Mississippi State Live. There is a scenario where Mississippi State could pull this off. It's hard to see though. I just think Arizona State with Sam Levitt at quarterback, a couple key guys coming back. Basically, they return a lot of production outside of Cam Scatterboo, who's now in the NFL. Giants, he's with the Giants, I believe. He yeah. I like Arizona State here.
Me too.
Vandy, Virginia Tech. We talked a little bit about that game tonight. I like Vandy. I think Virginia Tech's going to start 0-2.
I agree with you.
And then I don't know why I put 32. It's going to be more than 32 points total in that Oklahoma Michigan game, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think it's
I
going
could
to
see
be.
a close one. 30. I don't know. I like somewhere in the 40s.
I'm gonna say
I could go
48. I'm gonna say 48.
48 total.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in for you. I was gonna say, man, I like offenses here. If I had to guess on that Oklahoma Michigan game, which I need to find some time to actually look at it, but I see no reason it's like 45-42 or something. I could see a shootout or even if it's not like the first team to score like 42 something.
I'm thinking like a Alabama type score, 31-17.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But you're right. It could possibly be a shootout there. But you got anything else for us, Ballard?
Nah, man. That's all I got.
Well, we had a really great show. If you like this episode, please smash the thumbs up. And if you really like the episode, hit the subscribe button.
From his family.
Yes. Was out on the field pretty much the whole entire first half.
We got a lot of great games. I'm highlighting 2 SEC games.